Vicki, thank you so much for telling me that you could not hear me. So, all right, guys, let me know. Can you hear me now? I've switched out to my just using my phone. Um, so yeah, if somebody wants to let me know if they can hear, if the sound is coming through, that would be great. If you are new, feel free to drop comments in. I can actually see the comments. It's going to be a little hard for me to. Oh, thank you, Vicki. Good. Actually, I think the problem was, guys, with the sound is my earbuds are kind of on the way out. So let's just start this over. Okay. Thank you guys for joining me. I apologize if you joined and there were sound issues. We've got that resolved. And I want to welcome you to our weekly Facebook, YouTube live stream. It is obviously, it is probably obvious to you, I am not in my office. I'm in my car, actually. No, I'm not driving. I am traveling this week, but I did not want to miss another week with you guys to talk with you live. So I just decided to do this from the road this week. And it's the first time. I've never done this on the road. So I'm somewhere in Virginia, but I'm getting close to Tennessee. So it's a beautiful day and I've got some beautiful scenery. So I'm just glad to be able to hear you. Diane, you can't hear anything now, huh? Everybody else seems to think I can hear. If you cannot hear, maybe go out. If somebody could put in the comments and say just go out and then come back in, that should take care of Diane's problem for her. That might help. Good. Okay, great. You guys are hearing. Looks like most people are hearing me now. Hey, Danny, good from Loveland, Ohio. Yay. Wonderful. All right. So here we are. It is Thursday. Again, I've had a hard time trying to keep up with just keeping up with the days of the week lately. Hey, Dave from Renton. Nice to see you. Oh, rainy. Well, I am sitting in Virginia. It is beautiful blue skies and just some gorgeous weather. The leaves are just starting to see some color. So I thought this was kind of interesting that I'm traveling this week. And actually, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about genealogy wise, is our ancestors and our ancestors that traveled and that they went on vacation. And I thought this was kind of a fun thing, topic that sort of kind of came up accidentally for me. I was actually researching some of my husband's ancestors, and I found them on a ship's passenger list. The thing was, I was so surprised to find them on that passenger list because they weren't immigrating. They'd been in these states years at this point. And so I thought, what's going on? So I did a little more diving into what to kind of see where they had gone and what they were doing. And sure enough, I not only found them coming into the US, but I found them leaving and arriving in England. They were actually going to visit family. They were traveling. And I thought this was a really interesting just thought, because I'm so used to, the ship's passenger list, particularly, the newer ones, I should say, the more modern ones that we tend to get into sometimes, and say like around World War II, maybe it's right after the war. Sometimes they were visiting. They weren't necessarily immigrating. They were visiting people. They were traveling, and actually, people traveled even way back in colonial times. So obviously they were the moneyed families, but there was travel and vacation type of activities going on. So I thought that was kind of an interesting way to consider our ancestors and consider their lives. I really like to get into their heads. I want to know what they did. I want to know what they did for work. I want to know what they did for fun, because that can impact where we find them. So if you fast forward in my research a little bit, so I discovered that this family was traveling, and they were traveling. I didn't know at the time, but suspected it was for family, but wasn't sure. But they were traveling not only to England, but to Europe, and discovered that they were visiting family. So that's the really exciting part, was their travels opened up some new research possibilities for me. It connects families I didn't even know they had. So when I actually put this query out to on the Facebook page and my Instagram page about, have you researched ancestors who have traveled? Do you know where your ancestors vacationed? Have you found photographs of ancestors vacationing? And got a lot of really great information and stories from you guys. And several readers said, they discovered in newspapers about the travels of their ancestors. And I don't think that really is a surprise to really any of us. I think we as researchers know the importance of newspaper research. And so what I would tell you is if you have not gotten into some of those small town newspapers, those are the ones that a lot of will talk about who went visiting, who went where, who took a vacation somewhere, who went out west, what they saw, what they did, those kinds of things. So I would encourage you, if you have not gotten your newspaper research into some of the more smaller local newspapers, that's definitely a place you can find out a little bit more about where they traveled, because those travels are telling us something. Whether they're ship passenger lists and they're traveling abroad, whether they're newspapers and they're just traveling to the next county, it is a way to potentially connect family members that previously we may not have recognized or realized were part of the family. It can help connect, say, areas of the county, state, or country where we don't necessarily realize that the families would be connected to that area. And when we find that ancestors have vacationed or whether they have traveled to that area, then it's that aha moment of, oh, well, yes, now I understand, the oral history or why I keep finding these odd records for, Washington State, but my ancestors never left Virginia, kind of thing. So that's the kind of thing you can find. Dave said his grandfather was working in London from 1917 to 1945, and he made several trips on ships to the U.S. to see family. Absolutely, absolutely. That's a great way to kind of understand, what his life was like, and the fact that where his family was in the U.S. and that connection for him through work. Dave, you'll be interested. So in early 2022, I think you probably already know the UK census for 1921 will be released. So that will probably be of interest to you when it comes out, to see if you can find your grandfather there from his works there. So that would be a really good one. But that's an excellent example of making those connections between two families. So let me check my notes, because hang on, guys, I'm in my car, like I said. Yes. So the other thing that I discovered on that family that traveled across my husband's ancestors who traveled to England and discovered those families, and again, I'm waiting for that 1921 census record to get a little more information on that family that they visited, is that I discovered through the passport application that they were also going to Germany. They were going to France and to Germany. Now, this is really intriguing to me because I have no leads on family over there. And so that's going to be a really interesting thing. That's the next project that I'm following up on is, okay, can I discover where they went in Germany? So the point is not where those ancestors were going, but what I want you guys to realize is that for those ancestors who were traveling, particularly, in the 1900s, look for those passport applications if you can, because what it says on there, it'll ask them sometimes where they were going, and it's where they were going. That's where I came up with 3 destinations with probable family at those destinations. And so that was a very important clue for me to be able to start structuring my research plans around that. It also mentioned that for the reason of health. So I thought that was kind of an interesting one. I don't know quite what that meant, but it did say that. Vicky said, how do you find passport applications from Ireland to the U.S.? Vicky, I'm going to be honest, I don't know. I would actually, I would do a Google search probably for that, and to see if you could find out. I'm not an Irish researcher, so that's why it's a little harder for me to understand. You could also, the blog on Find My Past has excellent Irish articles on Irish research. They may have it. You could possibly query them as well. What I would do would be maybe on the Google search, Google Irish passport applications, and then put the time period that you're looking for, put the years there as well. The other thought that I would have would be to check, say, Find My Past, certainly check Find My Past, the Irish collection, and check Ancestry.com. If you go into their card catalogs and do a search on passport applications, you could filter it down to see if they have any of the Irish ones. That's what I do when I'm going into looking for passport applications, because I'm typically looking for US going abroad. I go into Ancestry's card catalog and I do a search for passports applications, or you can just use passport. And then I filter down, by state of where they were leaving from. So that should get you started there as well. I tell you what, a little bit later, check back. I'll try to put some links. I'll answer this a little more fully and give you some links to perhaps check out once I'm connected back to my Wi-Fi at my destination, and I can add those in a little easier for you for that. So, but that's an excellent question there. I think that's a wonderful. The other thing to think about when you're looking for ancestors who are traveling, and it could be immigration, it could just be, again, pleasure traveling. If they're traveling abroad, is remember that, say, if they're leaving the UK, there are records and ship passenger lists for people leaving the UK. And so that's important to know, that the country that they have visited, when they're ready to come back home, you may find evidence of them in arrivals or departures in that country. Now, the best thing to do is to really talk to somebody, maybe go into one of the Facebook groups for those countries, whether it's the UK, whether it's Germany, whether it's France, and see if those folks who really know the research for those areas and those countries, what they know that would be potentially helpful to you. So they may know of the records already, or they may be able to tell you where to search for those. So that's great. Vicki said, okay, perfect. Do that, Vicki. Your great grandmother has a very common name. Yes, I can relate to that. But you do have a date for arrival, just not sure where she departed. That's excellent. Yes, I think that's a good way to sort of look at it as well for where she may have come in at. And again, it's possible for the time period, Vicki, that she was leaving Ireland. Ireland may not have required anything. So again, you have to understand, if you're looking at immigrants coming over, their countries may not have required anything for them to leave. So you've just got to look at the laws for what's going on there. So just wanted to kind of put that bug into your ear. So yeah, look at what your ancestors did traveling. Look at local travel. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun to see where they went to. My ancestors tended to go to places like a lot of natural places. They lived in Virginia, so they typically went to the mountains there. Others in this part of, because I'm from North Carolina, they tended to go to the coast to visit and see things down there. And so obviously visiting family was a big one. So I really enjoy looking at where they go and getting the photographs from there if possible. So I just want to put that kind of bug in your ear about the traveling, guys. I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead, and that's what I had for you today. A couple of things, announcements from Are You My Cousin that I wanted to give you this week is to, don't forget, we are going on, Are You My Cousin is going on a genealogy cruise in June of 2022 to Alaska. So the details of that are on the website. And if you have any interest in all in that, feel free to check out the website on that. And also coming up, because we are getting ready to go into October, guys, this is the time of year that I put out a call. If you are interested in getting a separate email out that for sales and upcoming sales and deals and everything as we go into the holiday season, I will start sending that Frugal Genealogy Bargains email out starting probably next week or the following week. I do it once a week. It's kind of an addition. You don't have to sign up for it, but I'm going to watch the website, watch your regular email on Monday, and I'll put a link to that where you can sign up for that. Again, that is if you are looking for DNA tests, if you're looking for Christmas shopping. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. I know it's coming up fast, isn't it? That's what I typically email those types of deals out, but I don't want to clutter up the weekly emails with those for people who just aren't interested in that. So just, again, watch your Monday email. I will have all the details for that and the cruise and everything else going on in that. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. I will be in my office where it is not quite so hot as it is in my car right now. But anyway, I'm really excited that this worked out for us. I'm glad we got the audio fixed, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. And I'm going to go hit the road again. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Bye.